To take forward, I would request our session chair, Mr. Yogesh Thakkar, who is the presidential member for ISHRAE, to please be on stage and take the session forward. I think we have had enough energy. Maybe a small welcome to Yogesh would be nice. Thank you so much. Good afternoon all.
Welcome to the session on advancing sustainability in the commercial built environment. I am Yogesh Thakkar, the National Society President for the year 23-24, and I am so happy to see the decarbonization drive. When I was the President 23-24, we launched two task force. One was the decarbonization task force, and the second was the skill development task force. Both the task forces are doing great work. Under the decarbonization task force, under the able leadership of Mr. Pankaj Dharkar, during Mr. Anup Balani's tenure, CoOL Conclave was launched, and this is the edition 2, and I am so happy and so proud as a part of ISHRAE, seeing this CoOL Conclave becoming such a great brand and an event to be cherished by all the professionals in the built environment industry. So, coming back to the topic of advancing sustainability in the commercial built environment, this topic really is a great topic, and it holds enormous potential, the built environment, for energy, bringing about positive change in the energy. From low carbon materials and net zero strategies to smart building technologies and circular design, the innovation can be explored today. All the eminent speakers, we have speakers from the building industry, from the construction industry, we have designers, and also the users in the panel. Our speaker will bring a diverse range of insight from research to the real world implementation, and I encourage the audience also to interact. Let this be an interactive session, and I welcome more question and answers from the speakers. Also, we'll have a separate dedicated slot for it. I will welcome Anuja Sawant is a principal architect, and he is going to be the moderator. I welcome you, Anuja, to take over from here and introduce all the eminent panelists.
Can you hear me? So first of all, thank you all of you to be present for my session. And we have wonderful, magnificent 7. I'm going to make them talk and extract a lot of information about the topic. Most important thing that I know, each and every person who is sitting right now in the audience, they are experts. And let's see how this whole session goes. Thank you, CoOL Conclave, for inviting me, and being a moderator, it's very important for you to learn and unlearn. So I really thank you for making me moderator. So let's start with Anand.
Hi, myself Anand Patel. I am a partner in PDA based out of Mumbai.
Madresh.
Hi, I'm Madresh. I head the MEP at Satwa, basically for South India operations, based out at Bangalore.
Hi, good evening. I'm Darukesh Maganhalli, heading operations at SPRE Mumbai region.
Hi, good evening. Myself Rajkumar Mane. I am heading MEP department in Piramal Reality.
Hello. Hello. Myself Kishore Kumar. I'm handling MEP department in Embassy Group, working from Bangalore.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Atif Sayed. I lead the Green Building Program for International Finance Corporation, which is part of the World Bank Group.
Hi, I'm Jayesh Bani. I head MEP at Colliers.
Thank you all of you gentlemen. आपको मालूम है आर्किटेक्ट की सबसे बड़ी परीक्षा क्या होती है? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people from the developer side. Client is a god for me, and then उनके लिए moderate करना बहुत बड़ा task है. So let's talk about a little bit about the commercial buildings. Of course, I'm going to talk a little bit about from the architect's standpoint and then going to ask them questions which are more related with the technical and how we are going to advance what we are doing today. So as we all know, there is a high demand for the commercial spaces. At the same time, the sustainability, smart buildings, innovative designs, which are the newer trends. So as we said that there is a lot of development, commercial development happening across India, which is tier 1 cities, tier 2 cities. A lot of market studies, research, I'm not going on numbers. Now better? No, this is very thin. Now, hopefully now better. Okay, I have nothing to make my points. I'm here to ask questions. So let me move to the question. And I would love to begin my question with Atif because as you've seen that his overall experience started from the student of architecture. From there, he has entered into MEP. From there, he has got into the sustainability and now from the World Bank perspective. So Atif, I really want to understand that what sort of a commercial building or the commercial developments right now happening in India. Again, from the foreign investment standpoint, what sort of a current scenario is and what sort of a challenges what you face today?
Sure, thanks Anuja. So it's actually, if you're watching the news, it's easy to get kind of negative about the scenario, what's happening around the world, especially with the political changes in the US and Europe and other countries. The policies are, in many of countries, are moving away from supporting climate mitigation and sustainability, which is kind of a sobering news. But the good news is that the businesses have really caught up to the benefits of sustainability in the building sector, and they've seen the business case. So regardless of what the policies say, the buildings that are being built, especially in the top tier, I would say across the world, in the commercial space, are paying a lot of attention to sustainability, not just in the design, but in the operation as well. But again, the caveat is it's only looking at the top tier, the top 10% or so. What's happening with the rest of the market is still a concern. A lot of people do not understand why they should be building better, why they should be operating better, and unfortunately there's a lot of greenwashing happening as well. Now again, another good news here is that the finance situation is getting better. There are these global development agencies like mine, the World Bank and many others, ADB, etc., which are putting money, but more importantly, the private investors are now seeing this as a profitable investment for them. They want these properties to have proper verified standards, to be meeting those proper verified standards. That's one thing for sure. And in terms of the finance that's happened over the past year, the estimate is just on the green building side, roughly about $1 trillion, $1.3 trillion of finance has happened globally. However, it's still falling short of the demand. So another $1 to $1.5 trillion is needed to finance all the green buildings that are going to be built and to kind of catalyze the market. One last point here is that the scope of what we call green or sustainable is kind of expanding now, with the realization that green doesn't just mean that you make a building that has lower emissions, lower energy, but also a building that can withstand climate change. Withstand climate change in the sense that if there's a flood, if there's a hurricane, if there's a drought, your building will not be affected. So that's what we call adaptation.
Yeah,
and that's becoming...
I have one more question for you, because I'm going to talk about two type of commercial building, or maybe the future commercial building. There's one development which is a new development. There is a lot of development which has been done now. And the retrofitting of those buildings, and probably they are the best suited being a commercial building. Or maybe they will go into some sort of a healthcare sector. Now when it comes to the retrofitting,
So let's talk about two kind of a commercial development, and of course we have 4 developers over here. Whatever we have done in the past, we have already constructed. Can they not be thought about as a new commercial spaces? And how would you look at the new commercial? And this is what we are going to discuss today with all of you. So you can give your viewpoints about retrofitting also. Do they have any sort of a future where they can be looked upon as advancing of those construction as a sustainable commercial spaces? Yeah, then I'll go to the next speaker.
Sure. So retrofitting is actually a fairly well-developed sector by itself in many parts of the world, especially if you look at the Western world, where very little new construction is happening, but they are, especially in Europe, they are renovating a lot of their old existing building stock. Now the challenges with retrofitting are huge because you don't want to disrupt the operation. You have limited opportunities to change, and the financial viability is often questioned. I mean, it is there in many cases. So the approach is slightly different, and finance actually can play a huge role in this. And later in the talk, maybe I can talk about some of the innovative financing mechanisms that have come in to support financing of retrofits, or possibly going all the way to zero carbon.
Okay, so let me come back to you. Let me go to Anand. Anand, to you, where I started about 2 kind of a commercial spaces. For me as an architect, I always consider that a captain of the ship, and I have to look at several aspects. But today the situation is such that in isolation, architect cannot design. Why I'm saying that architect cannot design? Because the sustainability has to be looked upon by the experts, and MEP plays extremely important role. So what is your challenges, or how do you look at, or what kind of guidance you would give it to architects that this is how the commercial buildings should be looked upon? And again, my question continue to you, that how would you look at the retrofitting, and if that becomes a challenge? So, over to you.
So I think there are 2 questions, if I understand and if I have heard it correctly.
Yeah. Before that, this question is open to all of you. So I would love to hear from all of you, because that's where the whole commercial sustainability would go to the advancing. Over to you.
So for example, when we start designing a MEP system, primarily the thing starts, for example, an air conditioning system, the primarily thing starts with the heat load. So if you analyze the heat load or a cooling load of any building or any structure, primarily there is a contribution from envelope, then there are people, equipment, lights, etc. And then there are ventilation requirement depending upon the number of people. So I think the areas where probably architects and consultant has to integrate, one is the envelope. So envelope value is something which is so important today, not only in terms of glass or fenestration, but in terms of wall, in terms of floor, how are we treating the roof, etc. So I think that's a part which is purely a design, and in a new building definitely one can attempt to have the most efficient envelope, which kind of leads to reducing at a first place. You make your system lean, or your load very lean, or very clean in a sense of envelope. So that's where I think architects have to play a role. And second, of course, is a subset of that is a lighting design, etc., which also plays a role when it comes to air conditioning. Coming back to your second question, which I think was about a retrofit.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't do much retrofit. We don't have time to do a new project, so retrofit is rare for us. But in a sense, I think the issue in a retrofit, probably I see from a design perspective, is how do we integrate backwardly? For example, if you have a building, you decide that I want to improve the energy efficiency of existing building. So the first and foremost decision people would take is, let's change the chiller. Earlier chiller had a 5 COP, now put a 6.8 COP and change the chiller. But the challenge is, or a drawback or a constraint it gives is, for example, if I have to use high delta T chiller, then it's not only a chiller. I have to change the pump. When I change the pump, I have to go to a AH2 to see the coil design. when I change the AHU, then I have to go to air distribution.
Yeah, I agree to disagree with you, but tell me one thing, that we are all talking about the transit-oriented developments. Tomorrow there are several car parks who are going to be standing, which has been already constructed by the developers. Now all these spaces, if we talk about the carbon, don't you think that these needs to be reused? Now tomorrow, if developer looks at that as an opportunity, and then we can have these spaces to be turned into a commercial spaces. Can they not be considered to reduce the carbon, recycle and reuse? Now that time, and then I want to make them sustainable rather than building more. You know, non-building is most biggest green building. So when I'm recycling and reusing, when retrofit, how would you look at the sustainability? Of course, that's where we have to advance.
I think that's probably a very umbrella thing to kind of think of. But I mean, when we talk about, for example, zero carbon or decarbonization, probably embodied carbon is a prime factor. So when we kind of reuse the structure, that gives an advantage, you know, rather than building a new and creating a more carbon or energy in operational phase. So I think that probably works well.
Okay. So slightly different question for Bhadresh, for you. Though we were on the retrofitting, but I would go to a commercial spaces. And Bhadresh, I really want to understand, you're being a part of Sattva. So what exactly Sattva does for the sustainability today? And of course, we are going to talk about the challenges much more in depth. But what are the efforts, or what sort of a research is ongoing with Sattva Group with the current commercial analysis, and what is going to be future?
Basically in Sattva we do a lot of energy saving technologies and things like that. So going on from what Anand had mentioned, the window wall ratios play a very important role. Again, you put in a good fenestration with a lot of advantages on glazing and even the shading devices. So one point is you will be investing on the shading devices and saving on the efficiency of the systems. But again, there's a cost to it. So we evaluate both the capital cost and the operating cost. That is one aspect of it. And when it comes to the COP of chillers, like he was mentioning about COP, we go in for 6.4 COP for water-cooled chillers and 3.1 for air-cooled chillers. At the same time, we design our chillers for the peak load, because you definitely know that the load doesn't cross the peak load. Likewise, when it comes to electrical, instead of designing or installing for a 6 VA per square feet for commercial, we install at 4 VA, but we leave the space for 6 VA. Apart from that, we do a lot of solar panels. That's the renewable energy which is there. So on the renewable energy front, you can see you can utilize the walkways, you can put it on the car park areas, you can put it above the marketing offices. So there are a lot of places where you can put. I think even yesterday there was a ruling from the
these are like a standard methodology which has been implemented to make it sustainable.
Yeah, these are what we are implementing.
Correct. So now let me shift to Rajkumar bit, and I really want to understand that maybe you must be having a similar kind of situation with the sustainable building. What sort of hurdles you face while making them sustainable, maintaining them sustainable? Because making is very easy, but maintaining them for their life cycle is a task. So what do you do?
So when we say sustainability, it comes with a cost where the higher management comes into picture. But today, higher management also is moving towards sustainable goals. So they are providing us the budget to adopt these new technologies, and that's what we are doing in current organization.
Okay. Darukesh, you are into procurement, and you have very close procurement experience and so much of construction going on for SD Corp. So what sort of innovations in the material which has been brought onto the table? Or then you have to really do a good amount of research, because again, it's not just the choice of the material, but the cost, the life cycle, the capex, the opex. So what are your views when it comes to the material selection? Everybody spoke about the facade, everybody spoke about the glass, everybody spoke about various elements, but they come with a cost and they come with their certain specification. So how would you look at making buildings sustainable and further advancing them?
Yeah, to have a sustainable building, the developer has to sustain. So
Very good
it's
one.
always a catch between devil and the deep sea. Although our organization is very much environment oriented and they are conscious of their social responsibility as well, they have given us a mandate that at least the building should be gold LEED certificate. So all our material procurement as of now, we are sourcing from the local markets and from the energy efficient manufacturers. We ask them what is their carbon footprint. Even when we selected last time the HVAC from a very reputed, there were 3 reputed organization. Cost was more or less same, but we selected the one which is more carbon neutral kind of a company. So this goes with all other construction technology as well. Today we have almost eliminated wood in construction. So we have moved to aluminium, although it is debatable whether aluminium is environment friendly because of the cost of manufacturing of that. But we have 100 repetitions of that. So we consciously moved to those levels, automated most of the construction technology as well. So material selection, when it comes to the basic materials,
So
cement
kind of
and
a Green
steel.
Pro certification, you make sure that there are Green
Yes.
Pro certifications and that's how the material choice is there.
That's
and
right.
you must be representing to your developers. Now
Correct.
any other views from the developer side that all these experts are sitting, anyone else wants to answer this, please go ahead. I really want to understand from the developers what sort of a challenges you have today in material
See,
selection.
challenges in the sense when it comes to certification. Previously there was LEED and IGBC, but today you find there's Wellness, there's Edge, there's GRESB, there's Griha, there's Wired Score, Smart Score. So I think one is getting confused. So there should be some body which would streamline this process and make it sort of a common entity where everything is captured, the essence of the sustainability is captured.
What are your views, Kishore, and even Jayesh, I would like to have, and even Rajkumar, you can have your views. And again, Anand, you have to say something, so you can go ahead and say. Atif, I'm coming to you because there's so many things they have said, so after them, the question is to you. Okay. You can use this.
Hello. You talk about retrofit jobs. Yeah, you talk about retrofit jobs where recently we are doing a lot of retrofit in the buildings where the buildings are more than 15 years, we start to retrofit it to the latest technology, in which the maximum issue what we face is the power consumption. Earlier the buildings are used to design for 8 VA per square feet where 3 VA goes for the services and 5 VA for the tenants. If you see in last 15 years, none of the tenants have used the power more than 2 VA, 3 VA. Remaining 2 VA goes, the capex is going waste. The equipments are ideal. But now also there is no standard says that what is the kilowatt required for a commercial building for a tenant usage. If that would have been clear in any of the standards, it is better to convince the tenants and we can design the system for lesser power consumptions.
So you're saying that there is a future and developers should look at retrofitting the buildings with some sort of a modification which is very much possible structurally.
Yeah.
Because I look at it that there would be change in the overall facade because you will need performance facade and at the same time you will need a space for all the services which is most important.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other views, Rajkumar?
I would like to add this thing. Last month only I got an opportunity to study an existing building, our building, which is handed over 7 to 8 years back. So when I studied that building, I found that there are 7 transformers which were installed. 3 of the transformers were utilized only for 30%. So just imagine, and 2 of the DG set, 1500 kVA DG sets I have removed from the site after a deliberate, means we had made a report completely after studying the entire system. But if this was been AI enabled, then it could have been done easily.
So Anand, to you and Yogesh, and then I'm going back to Jayesh and Atif.
I think 2 points very clearly in terms of, whenever we keep hearing about the cost coming to a developer and developer being sustainable, right? I think world over and even in India, if you are looking at asset class of commercial development where you hold the asset, it's quite established that if you create a class A building, the amount of differential rental you fetch out of that sustainable building, if your EPI is 50 or if your EPI is 90, and that differential, what we see in Mumbai, in a same area, same market, two adjoining building, one building is 200 rupees square foot, another building is fetching rental of 600 rupees per square foot. I think that tells the story. Sustainability is not a cost if you are building up the asset. If you are basis the development on a revenue model, then it's a different case because you are spending money and somebody is going to enjoy the benefit. But as far as asset class is concerned, it's well paid, and the debate is, to me, at least that's over. So whatever class A building or a asset class commercial building we are doing, no developer is telling us to give us the payback or these and that, because all we need to talk about now is the EPI. We need to go from the watt per square foot, because EPI will give you a collective picture of what your envelope plays or your system plays, whatever it is. So we need to change the definition, we need to change the perception and move ahead on a sustainability.
Okay. So our respected chair has a lot of experience with retrofitting. So over to you.
So on the retrofits, or maybe not the greenfield projects, but the brownfield projects, the existing projects, with all the the developer fraternity sitting here, even the country has a great scope. The government buildings, the government is doing a lot of work. Point number one is the scrappage policy which government is bringing up. Any central plant which is more than 20 years old, any split air conditioner which is more than 10 years old are going to be scrapped. It's going to be a huge change in the coming time. Point number one. Existing building, lakhs and lakhs of air handling units which are already installed. With a simple change from a belt-driven technology to a EC technology, simple things can be done. From the existing plant room, good chiller plant management system with a BMS, huge savings can be achieved. So there is tremendous scope. When the corporates nowadays, as our country has a net zero goal, now the corporates themselves have a net zero goal have set up. Even the municipal corporations, the cities, the states have set up a very aggressive goal for the net zero. For corporations, they are changing the street lights, or maybe small examples like even our office buildings from CFL, we have moved to LED to smart lighting management system. So there are a lot of scope which I strongly, where the money the developer has to put, where the designers have to really look into the brownfield is.
So Atif, right now, whatever discussion happened, everyone spoke about the facade, everyone spoke about the kind of a specification. Do you see really we are right now at that place where we are talking about advancing, we are talking about taking a leap, where we are today, and are we started with the baby steps, or we are taking a leaps like a kangaroo, or what exactly is happening? What is a reality bite? Jayesh, I am coming to you. I can come with the
In
mic.
some ways,
Yeah.
got it. In some ways, I think we are making huge advances. I mean, this conference, I've heard very remarkable developments by many professionals, experts. So we are taking some steps, but only a few of us are doing it. Again, reiterating that only about 10% of the industry is kind of represented here. I mean, the kind of work most of our companies here, they're not catering to every single project. They're mostly top-tier companies catering to top-tier projects. So in terms of the volume that we need to change, the masses that we need to change, that's not happening. And one more change that I see happening, which could be remarkable, is that the investment is now getting linked to the performance of the asset. So rather than an investor just giving money and saying, okay, go green, go build this building, just give me a certificate and I'm satisfied. That's not happening anymore.
Exactly.
We are going to ask how is the building performing. And in fact, we have just invested in a few projects where the terms of the finance, meaning the interest rate, is linked to the performance of the asset. If the building keeps performing better and better, the interest rate keeps going down and down. So that's, I think, going to change the market.
So Jayesh, my question to you, I'll come back to you. Jayesh, my question to you, when now a client normally gives a brief to an architect, is a brief comes from your side to a MEP consultant that this is what the sustainability goal is, and Mr. Architect or Miss Architect, you reverse design to suit my MEP requirement and sustainability goal. So what sort of a document which has been created or any sort of such document is ready with the developers which could be handed over that this is what the results I need and you reverse work?
For me, sustainability starts with three powerful E, energy efficiency, environmental impact, and most importantly, end user well-being. So, we should focus on the passive design strategies like orientation, shading, and natural ventilation, which everybody call it as letting the building breathe. And we instruct the MEP consultant to design the energy efficient MEP system, water reuse, daylight harvesting, and even low carbon material. And of course, smart automation, because what's a building without a brain? What's a green building without a brain, basically?
Okay, thank you. Now I have one question that sustainability we are practicing for past 20 years. After 10 years, what was the condition of those buildings which were certified as a sustainable, and what sort of a changes which all of you had to do it? I mean, that question is open to all of you.
Okay, I think the way forward for this would be digitization, definitely, because in digitization...
No, Badresh, my question is slightly different. I said that 20 years back, if I have done certain building where it was certified,
yeah,
with
that's what
certain
I'm coming
certification.
to that. So,
now, after 20 years, is that building is performing better, or there is certain amount of changes which you had to do?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
that's where I'm coming.
So I
when
missed
it comes to the digitization, you got the digital twin.
Okay.
So
Sorry.
yeah, so digital twin basically you are preparing a software model of the real world entity. So there what happens is you go in for a predictive analysis. So in predictive analysis, you can analyze what is going to happen in future. So along with that, you have your planned maintenance, you have your predictive maintenance, then you have your the proactive maintenance. So all these aspects help find out what exactly is the problem. And apart from that, the digital twin also sees how the building is performing. See, one is the design, what like Anand and team, they design. But what is the operational aspect? So that needs to be taken care of. And when it comes to the operational aspect, developers are the best people to give feedback to them. And also the government agencies. So they set up some norms, for example NBC, they are setting some norms that so much is the load which has to be in the building. So even in the last session what I saw was they're finding that, for example, our building was designed for 14 MVA as per the NBC. But when you see the actual load, it's only around 2.5 MVA. So that's where I request both the designers as well as the government agencies to take some feedback from the developer so that it will always be helpful.
Yeah, over to you Anand, and it's open to all of you. I would love to hear all your views.
So I think 2 points which you said. One is a benchmarking.
Yes.
Industry always works on a benchmarking. So for example, even the consultant have a benchmarking. Today if I am doing a commercial building, probably a year back I designed at 0.9 kVA per 100 square foot. Today if I have to design a building, I am looking for 0.8 kVA per square foot. So that kind of benchmarking helps because client also gives a feedback. They have the operational benchmark, we have a design benchmark. So I think that's a way to, kind of improve on a design of a commercial building. That's one point. Second point is, which I would sound to be a little contradictory, but then, for example, the title was how do we advance the sustainability in a commercial building. If you see the journey, we have been so harping on energy efficiency at a design level, at a procurement level. COP of 6 to 6.8 journey has taken 10 years, which is roughly around 11% power saving. Chiller contributes 50% of power, so it's a 4.5% of power saving. Now my question to all of the audience is, if given the option, will you be selecting next chiller at 7.1 COP, or you will look back and do the right commissioning and prevent all the bleed off which happens because it is not commissioned properly or it is not, controls are not functioning. So that kind of bleed is much more than 10 and 15%. So I think to advance the sustainability, we have to go step back. We have to make our systems right, because there was a question why BMS is not working. BMS is not working because BMS is not getting the importance. People don't realize that spending money on a chiller COP is not wise, but spending money on doing the right commissioning is a much wiser thing to do.
So Atif, what is your views on what Anand has said, and if anybody has a views, please express your views. I am not an expert on the subject.
Anuja, today, even without being a brick being laid, we can make out by the available tools, AI tools, how the building is going to perform. So it's not that difficult with all the data available from the past 10 to 20 years. So we can predict, at least in the near future, how the building will sustain itself by using right kind of design, orientation, as well as energy efficient systems. So it all depends on usage of those tools. Like it has to done while during the design stage itself.
Okay, so I think Kishore, you have to say. Atif, I've already asked this question. Rajkumar, Jayesh, your views, please.
Like small steps also makes a sustainable. What we have taken, all our electrical panels, we have installed a QR code. So all my electrical SLD comes on the electrical GA diagram and all everything, and in electrical room, electrical SLD QR code has been installed. So these hard copies I don't have to give. So this also adds as a sustainable measures, you can say.
Kishore, what you have to say?
That is a single.
True. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So Atif, to you, that whatever we discuss, what are your views on that? And Jayesh, of course, your views, both of you.
It's a future.
It's a future, okay. But is this future is here, right? You are the future.
Yeah, I'm sure if we go like this in future, I can imagine office workspace, commercial spaces like a smart forest, alive, adaptive.
Smart is not to work, you know, that's the most smart.
Always in tune with the environment, correct. See, what I meant by that is, I'm sure the office spaces will consume less energy than they generate in future.
Okay, Atif, to you.
So what I envision and what I desire of the future is firstly a stronger focus on operational efficiency and more disclosure of data, collection of data, verification of data, disclosure of data, and government is actually now asking for it. Like we heard about BRSR. We have to, some companies have to report data. Now a lot of investors are looking at the data in detail. Like I mentioned, the sustainability linked finance, it cannot function without collection of proper verified data. So that's one trend that I'm definitely seeing and hoping for. And another interesting kind of area that we are working on is insurance premiums. Because insurance companies that are insuring properties see a lower risk in green buildings that have lower energy consumption, lower climate resilience, or higher climate resilience rather, they would actually reduce your premiums. So there is a direct benefit that can be accrued because of that. And one last wish or hope for me is that all the technologies that we talk about here in these kind of forums, we're able to mainstream them, we're able to scale them, we're able to make them more affordable, simpler for the masses to start using.
So, I want each one of you to express, and I want to open this to all the audience. Anybody has to say anything? Anything? So I want one word or one sentence from all of you for the advancement of commercial spaces. What could be that one key word or one sentence from your side when we talk about the advancing sustainability in commercial spaces? One word, whatever comes into your mind.
See, one word in the sense for me, basically it is optimization.
Okay.
Along with new technologies, but again, one needs to see from cradle to the grave.
Okay, good answer. Anand, to you.
One word is be smart.
Fantastic. Darukesh. Take this mic.
Hello. Yeah. One word is collaboration.
Great.
So everybody has to come together.
Fine, fantastic. Rajkumar.
One word is intelligent data.
Fantastic. Kishore.
One word is
हम होंगे कामयाब.
hello. Users only workplaces are coming common now. That's really good.
Thank you. Atif.
Mainstreaming.
Wow. Jesh.
Alive.
Fantastic. So thank you my panelists for the wonderful session. The topic is vast. We can go on. They are all experts and another level of experts sitting here. Yogesh, over to you for your comments and a lot more knowledge from you too.
So thank you, panelists. Hopefully the audience must also have enjoyed. In fact, a new India is going to be built in the coming years, and let's look at the greater future. We should leave some questions from the audience, if any. To the panelists, there are eminent designers, consultant, builder fraternity, from the finance department, IFC. Any questions from the audience, so we can wrap it off. If no questions, we'll wrap it off. Okay. Okay, big round of applause to all the panelists. Thank you very much. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. It's been a wonderful session, and I'm sure there'll be more questions as you walk down the aisle, because sometimes people feel the question is not right because the panel is very strong. So thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you so much, ma'am. I would now request for felicitations, and Yogesh sir, I would request you to please felicitate our moderator, architect Anuja Sawant, please, in the center of the stage, please. Can I have it just for the moderator, please? And can I request the moderator, Anuja ma'am, also to join to felicitate all our panelists in no order of sequence. Mr. Anand Patel. Thank you, sir. Mr. Bhadresh S. Mr. Darukesh. Mr. Rajkumar. Mr. Kishore. Mr. Atif. Mr. Jayesh. And can I request our presidential member Manoj Da to be here to felicitate our session chair, Mr. Yogesh Thakkar. All of you for a group photo. Yeah, Vyom.